Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Metcalf Training again and again. We're taking a trip back in time. We're going back to the East Midland Regional Short Course Championships of 2024. The first race of this competition here, the East Midland Short Course Championships of 2024, my 100 breaststroke heat swim, and there I am in lane 3, keeping with the leaders into the 50-metre turn. Not a bad turn, but I think this 50 is going to hurt. I can remember this race. I mean, I tried to remember all my races, but, I remember this being fairly painful, and also it being fairly early in the morning, and, now the 100 breaststroke was starting to hurt. It was starting to hurt, and I mean, it already started hurting, but it's hurting more and more and more here as we come in towards the last 5 metres. The leaders are getting away from me, but I'm trying my best to finish strong. We come in there for a 104. Not quite sure what the point was, you'll see in a moment, but it was 104, and it was slightly quicker than I'd gone the week previous in Cambridge, which I have already uploaded the vlog of. There you go, 104.49. And here we are again, ladies and gentlemen, straight in to the final of the 100-metre breaststroke at the East Midland Regional Short Course Championships of 2024. It wasn't obviously straight in. I had quite a few hours break in the middle of the day off. I also did a 50-metre freestyle as well in between times. But here we are, we're showing the final of the 100 breaststroke. I'm down there in lane 7, and you'll see, but I did decide that I was going to really push the first half here. I was going to have that as my sort of race plan and just make it hurt, and again, as you will see, it certainly did hurt. So heading into the 50-metre turn, and as I said, I did push that first 50, and yes, now it is going to start to really hurt, as you can see. My hips look like they've dropped in the water. I don't look like I'm going forward as well as I perhaps was on the first 50, and the whole field is catching me. This was painful. I remember this being painful. There's one person going, well, they've already gone past me before I can even mention the fact they've gone past me. But I think, I think I was slightly quicker than the heat. But it goes without saying that second 50 was more than just slightly more painful. And there you go, 104.32. So into day 2 then of the East Midland Regional Short Course Championships of 2024. The day did start off with me with the heats of the 50 breaststroke, but we're not going to include that race video in the vlog here. We're going to skip straight to the afternoon with the 100 IM, and I'm there in lane 4 in the orange trunks with a semi-decent breakout there on fly. I'm looking a bit bouncy, but it's not looking too bad. Decent turn and into the underwater there using 11 or 12 metres, I would have said. Backstroke's never been my best stroke, but we'll see how good the crossover turn is. And I would say, ladies and gentlemen, that is probably average at best. I was pretty pedestrian around the wall there. I wasn't snappy with it. Don't think the breakout on the breaststroke was too good there either. But I'm starting to move away a little bit now as we get into the 75-metre turn. We'll see how this turn goes. Yeah, that turn was pretty pedestrian, I'd have said, but not looking too bad on the freestyle. Had a shorter breakout there, spent less time underwater, and I'm moving away nicely. So yeah, that was a pretty untidy heat swim, but I guess I got the job done nonetheless there. So, ladies and gentlemen, I mentioned at the start of that race there that we had the heats of the 50 breaststroke at the start of that day. And now we are going to see the final of the 50-metre breaststroke. And I am going to be in lane 7, or I was in lane 7, should I say, as we are doing the voiceover on this swim over a year after it took place. And there we are, ladies and gentlemen, representing Big Loughborough Town from lane 7. So, to business then, and it's worth noting here that the water has almost settled down. I think it's always satisfying before a final to see the water settling and it being very calm there with no waves in it. But there we are out there in lane 7, decent start, decent pull out, and I'm going to be clearly one of the leaders there at 15. I'm clearly ahead with lane 5 as well. As we head into the turn there, and I do remember before this race taking place, I did put an emphasis on practicing my turns, practicing my touch turn and getting around the wall as fast as possible. And I did manage to get around the wall well there, and I would say that's probably what helped me take the win there from lane 7, getting around that wall super quick, having a decent underwater section, and then just charging home and getting my hand on the wall first to make it 2 East Midland short course 50 breaststroke championships in a row. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen, Adam Metcalf, Loughborough Town, back to back. So I mentioned there, ladies and gentlemen, that it was back to back victories in the 50 breaststroke there. And what's funny is the remarkable similarities between the two final swims. I was wearing the same suit in both races, in both finals, and I was in lane 7 for both finals. So I've included the 2023 swim in this video for the sake of comparison, I guess. But here we go. To business then, and again in lane 7, getting one of the better starts. I think lane 3 there got the best start, and I think lane 3 might actually get to 25 first. It's hard to see there because the screen's so grainy, but I know again I did put an emphasis on getting around the wall as quickly as I possibly could. I remember practicing it in the warm-up before the race, and here I was just charging towards the wall, trying to get my hand on the wall first, and I did by a small margin, by about 1/10 of a second, but I got it done. And I just think it's so cool that both of those swims on video look so similar, with me wearing the same suit in the same lane. And yeah, I think it's super cool to highlight that. So back to 2024 now then, and for the final race of the 2024 championships there, the 100 AM final. And the goal here for me was obviously to make an impact in the final, but to accomplish that, my goal was to just sharpen up the skills and sharpen everything up that I was a bit lackluster within the heat, as I commented on. And I think I managed to do that. That turn certainly looked better. I've used a little bit more of the underwaters there, and I'm really attacking the backstroke, even though I am just horrendous at backstroke. Crossover turn was swifter there. I think the breaststroke pullout was even more aggressive. I think the breakout was better. Everything about this swim was just better than the heat. And, you know, perhaps you could say there's a component of that where, I was being lazy in the heat, and, you know, probably will hold my hands up to that. I probably should hold my hands up to that. But, yeah, I think this was a much better swim all round, although I am getting bodied there by lane 4. But, you know, it was a nice bronze medal to add to my gold medal from the 50 breaststroke, and it was a good weekend for sure. It was a good weekend and an enjoyable weekend as well. I guess the highlight there was obviously going back to back in the 50 breaststroke, 2023 and 2024. But yeah, bronze medal to finish it off. Good weekend all told. So there we are, ladies and gentlemen. That was the East Midland Short Course Regional Championships 2024. At the time of me recording these voiceovers and actually finishing off putting this video together, we have actually swam the 2025 Short Course Regional East Midland Championships, and it is now 2026. And it will be 2026 when this video gets uploaded. But, you know, it was good to look back there. But there's all sorts of videos that I'm going to post coming very soon onto the channel, as I am going to try and get into regular uploads again. But yeah, that was great to look back on, and I've enjoyed doing it, and I hope you guys have enjoyed watching. So thank you very much, and we'll see you in the next video.